Alright, this is Vegeta8259 again, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Kotobukiya extra hands, and these are the normal hands with rounded fingers, and I'm going to be reviewing them in 1/100th and 1/144 scale. So when you order these, or buy them in a store if you happen to find them there, they'll come in this little plastic bag. It'll have a cardboard insert with the instructions on the back. And the yen price is up here at the top, 630 for the 1/100 scale hands, and 525 yen for the 1/144 scale hands. Alright, so once you get them all assembled and put together, this is what you're going to be left with. Just like with the square finger hands, you do get two different size options for the ball joints. And unfortunately, you don't get the option for the trigger fingers like you do on the square hands. You just get one standard trigger finger there. Although the grip is pretty wide, so I don't think you're really going to have any problems with them accommodating whatever weapon you may want to have them holding. So for these, I find that the on the 1/100 scale hands, again, just like the square finger ones, I find that the small ball joints work better. And again, on the 1/144 scale hands, I find that the larger ball joints work better there. And just to take a quick look at the hands, there they are. Very nice looking round finger hands, I think. On the square finger hands were identical from the 1/100th and 1/144 scale versions, although the round finger hands are a little bit different. The 1/100 scale hands have these little rivets that go along the knuckle, and then there's this panel line that runs around, down the back of the hand like so. And you can see it'll be like that on each of them. Here's the open hand. I actually like this open hand better than the square finger version. It just looks a little bit more natural to me. And then again, here's the trigger finger hand. Whereas on the 1/144 scale hands, you see it's got different detail on the back. It's got this just kind of mechanical looking thing, but the actual hand part is exactly the same stylistically, just in a smaller size. And again, with the open palms, as you can see, pretty much the same thing. And the trigger finger. Now, one thing that I like that I don't think I mentioned in the square finger review was that with these sets, you actually get a left-handed trigger finger, which for high grades isn't something you get very often. In fact, I honestly can't think of an instance where you get an actual trigger finger for the left hand, which doesn't really have too much meaning most of the time, but for suits that are left-handed, like Goof Custom for example, with the Gatling shield on its left hand, these can certainly come in handy. Now to show off these 1/100 scale hands, I've got the Master Grade Shorazaku right here, and with the ball joints given, they pop into place and are actually very snug. They're not loose at all, and I think they are very, very good proportion-wise. As you can see, compared to the hands that come with it, they're actually a little bit smaller, but I think they still look very, very nice. Now, some people might ask, why would you ever want to give fixed pose hands in place of the posable 2.0 hands? Well, some people might like the posability of 2.0 hands, but then again, fixed pose hands are generally a lot more stable than hands with lots of articulation. And then again, I guess just to show off some of the other ones, you've got the open hands like so. And for the trigger finger hand, I think you'll find that it holds the weapons pretty well. It's a little bit loose in here, but you're still going to hold it pretty secure, especially since this hand is fixed pose. It's going to have a lot less chance of falling out than with an articulated hand. And for the 1/144 scale hands, I've got high grade Sinanju here, and we can just take these and pop them right in. And again, just like on Zaku, they fit very, very well. They're not loose in the least, and they look very, very nice. Now, this actually might be a bad example since, as you can see, high-grade Sinanju already comes with closed fists. And honestly, these Kotobukiya hands would probably be sort of wasted on a newer kit like high-grade Sinanju. Their real value is when you use them on older kits that, you know, back in the days when high-grades didn't come with closed fists, when they only came with two hands that had holes in them like that looked kind of awkward when you weren't actually holding a weapon in it. So I think that's where these hands really have a lot of value, is adding detail to a lot of those older kits. So again, outstretched hand. Of course, then again, high-grade Sinanju doesn't come with outstretched hands like this, so there's a slight little advantage right there. Be careful though, because if your weapons have pegs on the handles like high-grade Sinanju, you might have to trim those pegs off in order to make them work with these Kotobukiya hands, because there is no hole for that peg to fit into. And in the last video, a lot of people were actually asking me whether or not these hands would fit on 1:144 scale Gundam wing kits. Well, I've kind of got bad news for you. Not only does the ball joint not fit, it's just too small, but even if you were to modify the ball joints to make them fit, unfortunately these 1:144 scale hands are just going to be too big, as you can see there. So I don't think they're going to be quite appropriate for a 1:144 scale Gundam wing kit. So I guess that about does it for the review of the Kotobukiya normal hands with the rounded fingers. Again, pretty much just like the square finger hands, I think these are really nice alternatives to the B-Club HDM hands, which are made out of resin and tend to be really expensive and hard to find on top of that. And I think they're actually pretty high quality. Personally, I actually like the round finger hands better than the square finger ones. I just think they look a little bit more natural than the square finger hands. But then again, I guess it really depends on what mobile suit you're wanting to use it on. For example, as you can see here right in front of you, Xeon suits are going to be using the round finger hands more than the square finger ones, unless you have an RX-78 2.0 that you might want to use round finger hands on. And like I said earlier, they might not be all that advantageous on newer kits like Zaku 2.0 and high-grade Sinanju, but they really do shine on the older kits that could really benefit from having 6 sets of hands instead of just 2 little crappy hands that the original kit might have come with. So I guess that's about it for this review, and with that I'll see you guys next time.